Oh, do I have a show today? To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry, at least I think it is, and I'm your host, Reverend Sean, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. I think all the spirits today, though, are settled in and ready for the show, and I hope you are, because my guest today, everybody loves her. I love her and respect her, and she's just so cool. You guys are going to be a great show. First, let me get to the prayer urn, and I'm not picking up the urn anymore. It's too heavy, so I'm just going to reach for whoever's I get out of the urn. Henry H. from New York. My great grandmother from Puerto Rico, may she rest in peace, was into the occult. My family is now experiencing paranormal activity. What can we do? And could you bless us, Rev? Henry, I most definitely will bless you and your family. What can you do about that? Okay, I'll make this as short and simple as I can. Not a good thing if your grandmother was into the occult. Not saying she was a bad witch or anything like that, but it's just my humble opinion. Not a good thing. If you think this is tied into with her, your experiences are tied in with her past. Maybe there's something trying to collect on a debt that grandma didn't make good on before she went on to her next journey. And unfortunately, you can't go back to when the deed was done and undo it. So you just have to meet it head on and do what you can to combat it. So, also, again, here I am assuming you're from Puerto Rico. I would assume you're Christian. Maybe not. God, I forgive me if I'm wrong. Christian or Catholic. Just get the whole family, get clergy over there to bless, cleanse the home, put a blessing on all of you guys. Um, confession every week, mass and communion every week. Stay strong, keep praying. Things will get better. But let me put a very good, powerful blessing on you. This is a good one. This is a good one. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. I offer this prayer up to Henry and his family. Behold, the cross of the Lord. Begone all evil powers. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has conquered. Alleluia, alleluia. Amen. Henry, may the Holy Spirit enter and intervene in you and your family's life and remain with you all the remainder of this journey and on to the next. Please keep me posted on everything, okay, Henry? Okay. Let's check the mailbag. Got one in there. Everybody says, where'd you get that mailbag? It's on my website. It's a Paracon bag. Old classic Ghost Begone Paracon bag. Okay. Bobby D from New York. No, New England. I thought I had two guys from New York. New England. I got to get my glasses checked. Could aliens and demons and angels all be the same? All some type of interdimensional traveling entities? That is a great question. She's in the green room so she can hear me, but I'm going to warn my guest right now that I think I'm going to save both these questions for her to chime in on when I bring her on. But absolutely, Bobby, there's no expert, in my humble opinion, again, there's no experts in this field. Nobody has all the answers. We'll all know the answers one day. But I like to keep it simple. I believe in angels. I believe in demons. I believe demons are fallen angels. All of these could be what we think are extraterrestrials. So, some of these visitations that people tell me about are very angelic, some are very malevolent. Who knows? But I do believe in all three. And I believe many times alien visitation is actual visitations from angels, good or bad, that people are experiencing and just thinking that they're, ET. Um, when they're not. They could all be all in the same. But I'm going to save this question, a very great question, Bob. I'm going to save this question for my guest. If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. That's our website. Keep in mind, my wife and I do not charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So if you go to the website to visit and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts. And trust me, we will put it to good use. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor. So if you're having issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, and you'd like to make an appointment to speak with the Rev about that, there's a place on the website where you can make an appointment with me. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. And on that page, you will see my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. It's a very different kind of feel-good story where good versus evil, a lot of it in there, good wins. Sometimes not, but most of the time, yes. But the best part is if you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to help some really needy children and some needy animals too. You can get the book autographed by me in a house blessing kit off of the website. You can also get it a little less expensive at Amazon. Scroll a little further down on that page, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists. I offer a 12-week college-level online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this course is for all you true warriors for Christ that feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, putting up a good fight, circling the wagons against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. This is the course for you. You can enroll at the website. If you'd like more information about the course before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, or you can just call me and ask me about the course. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed items that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. Okay, what else do I want to tell you guys other than I am excited for today's guest? What can I say about her other than the fact that I love her and I respect her and I think she's super cool? She's a critically acclaimed author, world-renowned paranormal authority, TV, radio, film personality, and on and on and on. Brothers and sisters, please welcome to the show the one and only Heather Leigh Landon. Heather, are you with us today?
I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, well, guess what? I'm going to ask you some personal questions right off the bat because a bunch of friends and paranormal family members of yours and people that follow you want to know, and I'm going to make sure I get the question correct here. They want to know about the knee replacement and is your health good and how are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better. I know last week I was admitted to the hospital thinking I was having a heart attack, but it was a major panic attack. So good thing there. And my knee surgery is on track. It's going to be July 18th. So that's going to...
Oh, you haven't had it yet?
No, I haven't had it yet. Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Some people thought you had already had it. That's
Nope.
not an easy surgery. So I'll say a prayer for you.
Thank you.
Keep you in my thoughts during that whole thing. Panic attacks. That's not good. if you don't mind, and if you want to move on off this topic,
Oh no.
just say the word. I get a lot of people that reach out to me. I've had my own share of them, and I always write them off as something paranormal. There was a while there where every night that I went to sleep, I would all of a sudden feel like I was drowning, having this like actually like I'm underwater, can't breathe, drowning, panicking.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to just kind of get up and pace around the room and wait until I was just so exhausted. I'm about to just pass out anyhow, then I could just lay down and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I went through that for a little while. I used to have some night terrors, bad. So I would just like launch out of a dead sleep, drenched in sweat. I attributed it all to a lot of the things I had witnessed and seen and been through in cases that I worked and what I do and all that. But I also suspect some of it could be other things, medical too. Um, how are you handling that? And for all the people out there that are going, oh my gosh, that is so me, what advice can you throw out there to people? A lot of people in our field suffer from that sort of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah. The first advice I give is to take your own advice, because I'm certified meditation, spiritual life coach, holistic life coach, shamanic life coach, and I can teach people all day long what they need to do to stay calm, whether it's meditation, controlled breathing, journaling, but I don't do it myself. And that was part of my problem. I let everything in my life build up and didn't follow my own advice. So since then, I'm still struggling with what's been happening, but I just sit back. I find myself listening to meditation online just while I'm working, and I'll find myself closing my eyes while I'm typing because I'm working on my current book, and I'll just close my eyes and just start meditating at the computer. And that seems to help get me through a lot of it lately.
Oh my gosh, you were already on the prayer list, so I will continue to pray for you. That's rough. Anyway, somebody else asked me today, when I told them you were on today, they also thought you still lived out here. So you're not out here any longer in Boulder City or Henderson, where you were at close by the Rev. You've moved clear across the country to Florida. Talk to me about the move, how that even came about, if you're happier
Mm-hmm.
there, and tell me about haunted Florida. I mean, you went from scorpions and tarantulas and snakes to much bigger snakes, the skunk ape and the Bermuda Triangle. So how'd that all work out for you?
It's been great. We originally moved to Vegas probably about 7 years ago now, because my husband got transferred. Then that company closed down. He started working for casinos on the strip. COVID hit. He ended up getting laid off. So then one of his old bosses had started a new company. So now he works 100% virtual. And that's kind of why we decided to make the move, because I already worked virtually and our son was homeschooled. So for us, it was logical to move back to where family was. And it's been great. I mean, it's raining now, which is why it's a little bit dark in here. But I just love it. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, we're probably about an hour away from the beach, but just knowing it's there makes me so comforted.
Uh, I think of a good friend of mine that's from Florida that was out here visiting me one time, and we were driving down the street, and we happened to have one of those unexpected. It was during monsoon season out here, so we had one of those unexpected, downbursts on us, and you could barely see the road in front of you, and then all of a sudden it was like we witnessed this flash flood develop right in front of us, and it went under this freeway bridge, and a lot of people think, oh, it's not that deep, and they try to drive through it, and they end up
Mm-hmm.
drowning. Um, and I commented on him like, bet you hadn't seen this before. And he was just giving me this look. He's like, dude, in Florida, he says you can't even see
Mm-hmm.
the other side of your windshield when the rains come down. And sometimes it comes down that hard, but it's this way.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, and we get all of that, the flash floods and all of that sort of stuff. So I just kind of laughed when he told me. And I thought about you the other day. I was watching a late night news show, and it showed a guy out in his front lawn get attacked by an alligator, and he beat it up with a frying pan. And I thought, okay, well, I've got to ask Heather if she walks carrying a frying pan or has to be careful, because now they're telling you to be careful with your children and your small animals. And I guess there's been some attacks out there lately, and you've got them everywhere out there. So how's that going?
That's nothing new. It's interesting how, I mean, it's something that a lot of, I guess you would say, out of staters don't realize is it's something that we've just learned to live with. You know not to, or if you do go near a pond, you know to keep your eyes open and your ears open for any strange sounds. You don't go swimming in lakes or ponds unless you're secure with going in there. I used to do lake patrol for Disney, so we had to swim in the lakes for training, but we were always prepared for what could happen. And you don't let your dogs or your cat, your pets or your kids get too close to water, for many reasons, not just the alligators, for drowning and all of that. And it's part of our culture. We know they're here. And I remember when I first moved down here, there was, I would say, about a 6-foot alligator crossing the street. I'm in my car and I reached over and I locked the doors. I don't know why
Yeah,
I did that, but I was like, lock.
yeah. I don't know if I could handle that. It's like, I've seen my fair share of desert wildlife out here, but like the whole alligator thing, and they just caught like a record-breaking anaconda
Mhm.
out there. They found one wild anaconda, and then you mentioned Disney, and I'm thinking about that horrible story. Me, I would be done, and I would never. Well, maybe by the good graces of God, He'd give me the strength to carry on. But that family that witnessed their child at Disney there get drug off and killed by that alligator. Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Yeah, that happened several years after I had already left, but that was the lake that I used to work. And just the fact that, I mean, for Lake Patrol, we're trained if we see someone too close to the water to tell them to back up just because we know what's in that water. And, I was actually kind of disappointed with those who work the lake for letting that happen.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was. I can't remember. Oh, there's been so many horrible stories in the news as of late, but that one, uh, it never left my thoughts. I think about that incident all the time. Um, yeah. So you do live in a crazy state, and what city are you in?
We're in Lakeland. We're south of Orlando, but north of Tampa.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, talk to me. We're going to get to all your books. You've written some wonderful, wonderful books about haunted locations. We'll talk about some of the haunted ghost towns in one of your books that you've got. Talk to me about haunted Lakeland. Is Lakeland haunted?
It's weird. Lakeland is actually considered, per like how many sites we have. Lakeland and Polk County is considered the most haunted area in Florida.
You're kidding me.
Yeah,
Holy
there's
cow.
so many stories. We have our old jailhouse. Of course, all old jailhouses are haunted. There's a home down here called the Wonder House that is just riddled with ghosts. The different universities nearby have all their own stories. I mean, you can't even walk around the lake without hearing, stories of people who've encountered, talking to someone and then they turn around and that person's disappeared. It's just really interesting the number of stories that people have. And I don't know if it's because Polk County people talk and share stories more, but I can't remember which magazine it was, but it did label us as the most haunted city in the state. And nearby, probably about 2 hours, well, 2 hours away, is Madeira Beach. And that is also home to John's Pass, which is an old fisherman's wharf.
Oh yeah.
But to me, that's one of the most haunted locations in the state because it's right there next to St. Petersburg. It's on the Tampa Bay area. They have Confederate soldiers that are spotted walking the bridge at night. It used to be the spot of pirates and hangings, and you just go there, and it's amazing what you can feel and see there.
I bet. I know something else you and I both have in common, and you're in the process of writing about it now, so people can't go out and buy it. I'll let them know now. But lighthouses. Whenever I think of Florida, well, all up and down either coast,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of wonderful haunted lighthouses um, in Florida. And an odd thing happened to me. For many years, I used to like wake up out of a dead sleep with this lump would appear on the back of my neck, like right where my traps are.
Mhm.
And I would go to the doctor and get an X-ray, get it examined. No, they never knew what it was. Not a muscle tear, not a pulled muscle. They never knew what caused that terrible stiff neck. It would take like a week, to get my neck normal again after that. But that would always follow these unusual dreams of lighthouses. And then I don't know how many people go for this. I happen to believe, even though I haven't had a past life regression with a gifted psychic medium. I believe some psychic mediums can kind of remote view your past
Mhm.
if they get close to you and drop into channel with you. And I had a very gifted psychic medium that I know and love and respect and truly believe that she has gifts. She told me that in a past life I was a light keeper and I had fallen down the stairs and died with a broken neck.
Mhm.
And I hadn't told her about the dreams and my neck condition, and that just blew me away.
Mhm.
But talk to me about you're working on a new book about the lighthouses. Talk to me
Mhm.
about, and I'm going to get to these questions from my two guests earlier in the show. In your opinion, talk to me about haunted lighthouses, the fascination with them, and why you think that. I don't think I know a lighthouse that doesn't have some type of belief of a haunting attached to it.
Mhm. Yeah, with most, my personal belief for why they're haunted is, of course, you have the high energy from the water, the waves crashing on the beach, but that doesn't always account for it because I'll talk about a lighthouse in just a minute that is nowhere near water. They also have the light keepers who struggled, worked as hard as they could to keep the ship safe. Then you also have, like off of Sebastian, Florida, there's the 1719 Spanish galleons that crashed during a hurricane. So you have all the devastation that occurred on the shores. And, where are they going to go? They're going to gravitate to, the light, essentially. So that's where a lot of spirits end up kind of hovering. And the passion behind it that these light keepers had. And also today, they're highly visited, not even just by paranormal researchers. They're visited, by people all over the world that just want to see a lighthouse, or, you go to a town that has a lighthouse. Of course, you're going to climb up it so you can get a great view of the city. So there's that energy there of people visiting. And what I find interesting is, I know I say a lot of it's based on the water that's surrounding it, but one of the most haunted lighthouses in Florida is in Mount Dora, which is inland and on a small pond.
Very interesting.
And I found that interesting when I found that out.
Uh, I don't know if they have this type of thing out there where you're at. And when I was still living on the West Coast, they went through a period of time where they were selling lighthouses for like to former service people.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't been out of the Navy that long. For like $1, you could buy one, but you had to be like a certified licensed handyman of sorts, if you will, whatever the title that is, so that you could prove that you could keep uptake
Mm-hmm.
on the quarters and the tower and the light and all that. And I wanted to do that so bad. It never happened for me, but I always thought that would have been the coolest thing to do, is to own one and work
Mm-hmm.
one and take care of a lighthouse, but that never happened for me. So, oh well. You don't see lighthouses out here in the Nevada desert, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
I got to get out there to Florida sometime
Mm-hmm.
and investigate. Having said that, you come from uh, what I think is a pretty healthy paranormal community out here. I didn't know how healthy it was until I went and met a lot of people at a desert paracon in Death Valley many, 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 many years ago. Met a lot of people there that weren't from here, but I also met a lot of people from the Vegas area. And then my wife had that demonic attack,
Mm-hmm.
which left her with 3 very rare forms of cancer. And while we were fighting for her life, a dear friend of mine who doesn't live here any longer, who was also a very gifted psychic medium and a paranormal investigator, she held a paranormal potluck at and I forget the name of the park out here that has a famous sighting of a couple of ghost children there.
Fox Ridge.
Boom. And she had a paranormal potluck there, and they had a great turnout where so
Mm-hmm.
many paranormal teams showed up, and then they did brought their own food and they did some barbecuing and stuff. They investigated. I heard they investigated the park too after the sun went down.
Mhm.
But that always really touched me because they did it for Sharon and they did a big prayer circle for her and stuff. And so I never forgot that. But you leave what is known to be a fairly healthy paranormal community out here to a new paranormal community.
Mhm.
Talk to us about what you do know or don't know about the Florida paranormal community. And then I would like you to give me the Heather Leigh Landon State of the Paranormal Union address on the whole paranormal community because I tell people all the time there has always been, still is, and will always be a lot of drama in the paranormal community. And in my humble opinion, the paranormal has always been a spiritual quest, much more than a scientific quest. Although I do
Mhm.
know there's many legitimate scientific-minded people that investigate, and God bless them. But I don't think we're ever going to prove ghosts do exist, and I also don't believe anyone can prove they don't exist. But I do like people like me that are true believers, and you, for me, it's a spiritual journey and will always be. So talk to me about this new paranormal community you're a part of, and then your overall take on the paranormal community as a whole, and the drama.
Right. Well, it might have just been my experience in Vegas, but I didn't have any good experience with a lot of the teams out there. There was a lot of protectiveness, non willing to share, swindlers. I've come across a lot of people who did some strange things. And it just, I had the few that I hung out with and did things with. But other than that, I kind of kept my circle small because every time I would try to expand out, it was like I was getting shoved right back into my circle. So I guess I was just unlucky enough to not find the right group to get started with. But when I moved to Florida, I had already had a friend down here who he runs a team on the east coast of the state. It's the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigations. And he expanded to what is now called the International Bureau of Paranormal Investigations. And he wants to like do a collecting of data is what it originally did, but that's been put on hold. But since I've moved here, I've been able to communicate with him. He lives down the road from my parents, so when I go visit them, he's right there, introducing me to a lot of different people I've run into. I mean, even just locations for haunted, stuff. They're more willing to let people in. I don't know how many places that I would go to in Vegas to try to come in and do an investigation or help them host a fundraising event. And they'd be like, nope, nope, there's no paranormal activity here. And they're like, really? You sure there's no paranormal activity here? But here it's like you mentioned you're a paranormal researcher and there's 101 questions that get thrown at you. And then people are offering for us to do events at their locations. We're just trying to keep up with it. So,
Well, I threw a lot at you in that one
yeah.
question. It was what, a five
Yeah.
parter.
Yeah. And then my state of the paranormal union address would be pretty much we just need to bond together, regardless of where we're at, regardless of our background. We're never going to advance the field, whether it's spiritually or scientific, if we're not sharing data or experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well
that's
said.
the one thing. The whole para unity, we do need that in an aspect where we need to get along, but we also can't be openly just accepting of someone because they say they do paranormal research. Just because there's so many paranormal tourists out there and they're the ones that I personally feel are giving the field a bad name.
Yeah, I have to admit, and I'll probably get hate mail for this, but I do know far more people that just turned on the TV and saw a show and decided to buy a camera and get a tape recorder and just go out and do it, and don't know what they're doing than people that have been doing it a long time and have some training. They have some, you know, on the job experience trainings and have been doing it for a while. So I hear you there. I am so with you, and I pray for the paranormal unity all of the time. But it's bad. What do you think about some people I talk to? They're so, if you're not approaching paranormal research with a scientific method, then you should not even attempt it. Let's talk about scientific method versus just spirituality and it being a spiritual quest, and your opinion on both of those approaches.
I think we need to find a happy medium between the two because my background in the paranormal is more scientific and historical research. And my ultimate goal, even though I know it's difficult, is to find a paranormal scientific method, not a true scientific method, but one that we can use for our field. So that way, when we do investigations, whether it's a spiritual side investigation, we're still conducting them in the same manner. We're collecting the same data, or, each person has a role because we can't, and it's not so much about proving or disproving. It's more about collecting the data. And for me, it's to find out why it's happening. I want to try to kind of find out, why is paranormal activity more active on a full moon versus, a new moon? And that comes into, like I had said, the combination of the spirituality and the spiritual side of it and the scientific method in the aspect of having a standardized way of researching.
There's no wrong answer
Mm-hmm.
here. I admire people that will flat out tell me, Rev, I'm on a quest to find out if there is life after death and if ghosts are real. And so that's all I'm concerned with. So I enjoy going out to these haunted locations and just investigating and gathering what evidence I can or can't get, whatever personal experience I can have that I can relay to people. And they'll say I don't do residential because uh, too much pressure in trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring closure to cases and helping people. Whereas flip side of the coin, someone like me, that's pretty much. I mean, I've done the other types of cases where I've just gone out, Sharon and I, or when I did have a team, we would go to places just to try to hone our art,
Mm-hmm.
and get better at what we did and experience things and try to communicate with spirit. But now it's just it is all residential primarily for me and helping people and bringing closure to their cases and helping
Mm-hmm.
them get their lives and their home back. What do you prefer? What do you enjoy more, both or one more than the other?
I would say I do enjoy both because I like helping someone, even though it is heartbreaking when they start crying because you can't help them, or they start crying because you tell them it's not paranormal and they think you think they're crazy then. But I view this field almost like the medical field. Is you have those who go help the people, you have the doctors, and then you have the scientists that are in the lab doing the research. And even though I do like doing the research, I still do like getting out and helping people, but I tend to like that research a little bit more because it's not heartbreaking for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, there's. I wish there was more people in the field like you. I admire you. I think what you approach this with just you got a good head on your shoulders and it's screwed on correct. And everybody that knows you loves you. Um, so good for you. I pray for you a lot. What do I want to ask you? Okay, I know what I want to ask you only because I get this question a lot. Why people ask me this question, I don't know. And I'm going to tell you what my answer is. And then I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking you this question is because I know that you were a part of one of the organizations. People ask me all the time, Rev, what's the difference between the Warren Legacy Foundation and NESPER? So this is what I tell people. And again, I don't know anything. But I always tell people, well, what I know is that NESPER is the original team that Lorraine and Ed Warren actually formed in the 1950s,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still carried on to this day by Lorraine and Ed's daughter and her husband.
Yep.
And they have an actual team, and they still do investigations, yada yada yada. Then you have Chris, who is, I guess, Lorraine's grandson,
Mm-hmm.
and he says that through collaboration with her, formed, I think 2014, formed the Warren Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I don't get the impression there's a team there. It's kind of like a directory, if you will, um, an online paranormal phone book, if you will, of people around the world, I guess, that can help you can reach out to and get help. And I don't sense much connection between the two, and I don't know if there's any animosity. I'm not trying to create a thing here. I don't know if there's any animosity between the two groups or if what's going on there, but I do get asked that question a lot. I'm like, well, I'm not involved with either one, so I don't know why you're asking me. But I know that you were involved with the foundation. So, what,
Yeah.
is there an answer to all that?
We get this question a lot because Chris recently made me the chief administrative officer for the foundation. So I, as he puts it, I do most of the behind the scenes work along with an amazing admin team. And we're actually, I guess you could say, somewhat of a directory, but we're more than just that because we are working on creating a database for all of our cases to go into so we can plot and chart stuff. Because Lorraine wanted to, NESPR just helps New England area. Lorraine, before she passed, she wanted to have something worldwide that could
Cool.
help carry on her legacy. And that's why her and Chris founded it. They were supposed to work with NESPR, but that just ended up not working out. I'm not sure exactly all the reasoning behind it, but it just ended up, the two went their separate ways. And what Chris wants the foundation to do is we do have a intense process for someone coming on board, between our application and our interviewing process and all of that stuff. And then we also do have training. So that way we have a strict code of ethics that all of our investigators must sign and follow. And we do that because we want to have a standardized method in helping people. We want to make sure that the person in Florida who thinks they have a demon is treated with the same respect and thoroughness than the person in Spokane, Washington, who we believe has psychiatric issues. So we go in open-minded, regardless of what the cause may be. If we think it's psychiatric, we guide them to the right sources. The foundation does have medical doctors, psychiatrists. We have people from all forms of religions that are there to help. So that way, if a client comes to us, we can help them regardless of their religious background. And we're divided up into different regions. So a case will come centrally through myself and the admin team. We then hand it off to the regional director to take care of. And they're the ones who conduct and again, we have a set process. They do an online interview virtually. Then they do some research on the property. Positions are divided up. And then if we deem it necessary, we do go to the location. And that's why having people around the world makes it easy, because if a case comes in England, we have people in England who can help with that.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I admire both organizations. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great thing, and what a better name to have attached to either, or history to have attached to either. The Warrens. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I got a crazy idea. I'm gonna lose half my audience here. I can feel it coming. I got a crazy idea here. You know what would make a great paranormal special, even if it was like just 30 minutes long or an hour? Hear me out here. We should get Chris and Tony have a live on air mud wrestling match. Winner take all and get both outfits.
I think it's needed. But getting the two in the same room, I don't think will ever happen.
At some famous haunted location, and all the proceeds go to keep the doors open and do refurbishing on the building. You got the two of them do have and I'm thinking of that famous scene from Stripes, the mud wrestling scene with John Candy and the three strippers. Mm-hmm. But I can see Chris and Tony should have a paranormal mud wrestling match, and winner take all. I know that's people
do it in front of the Amityville
half my audience just tuned out right now. I know. So, okay, what do I want to get to here? Let me get to these two. I thought these were two. First of all, I really felt Henry with his question, because most people ask me to offer up a prayer, and he asked me, would you bless us? So that gave me an opportunity to grab just a powerful blessing. And then Bobby D. One at a time. Let me throw again, there's no wrong answer here. Just what you feel. Henry had said, my great-grandmother from Puerto Rico, may she rest in peace, was into the occult. My family is now experiencing paranormal activity. What can I do? And could you bless us? And he's in New York. What are your thoughts when I throw a question like that, when you hear something like that?
I personally think something like that would be best to start with a thorough cleansing, and protection. Like your salt from your home blessing kit is perfect. I have it scattered all over my house.
Oh, that's right. You got one of those. The only
Yeah.
thing is, I feel bad that I don't send a whole lot of that stuff out. I get a lot of people that come back to me and say, "Can you send me more oil? Send me more holy water. Send me more sage or whatever." Like I rotate it. Like I just got this big
Mm-hmm.
bag in of Palo Santo, blessed
Mm-hmm.
Palo Santo wood. So I know my next dozen kits will have Palo Santo in there. But sometimes it varies. It depends on what I can really get. No secret here. Whatever I can get online in bulk at a great price, and then I get it home here. I sometimes swing by this one church and have a bishop friend of mine lay hands on and bless
Mm-hmm.
it. But I do a lot of blessing and ceremonial praying and prayers over everything I send out of here. But it depends. I may send out sweet grass or Palo
Mm-hmm.
Santo or sage. I also like white sage and dragon's blood.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on what I can get, but I don't ever really send a whole lot out. I send out, to get someone started.
Right.
But
Yep.
I get a lot of people reach back to me and want more, and then I end up sending them more stuff. But I forgot you'd gotten that.
Package it and sell it. You could
Yeah,
sell vials of that.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm glad all that stuff worked out for you. The salts too. I forgot I put salts in there, and
Yeah, I have a
all that.
sun catcher in our front window that has a little vial in it, and I put the salt in there
Very, very cool.
to
Very, very
protect the
cool.
house. So.
Yeah, I remember I was having some. I get a lot of what some people in my field call recon blast. I refer to them as paranormal drive-bys, and the hauntings are different here. Regular old ghosts that are in visitation, just passing through, or some that are attached here to the property. Everything, all of that happens in here.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally, something slips in that's I need to address right away and get out. But the stuff that is really up to no good, it all happens outside of the
Mm-hmm.
home. And it's a mixture of elemental activity, and I can tell the difference between that and something more malevolent. But uh yeah, the kits and the blessings, all that's really, really, really
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize how important it is to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep up with it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the
Um
other thing that he could do is if he thinks that hit the I guess the bad mojo is put on them because of something his grandmother did, it's not so much against her, but maybe they could also take a bay leaf and write her name on it, and then burn it and mix it with some black sea salt, and then let the wind take it away. And it's more or less of they're binding her from continuing, or whatever she did from continuing to affect them.
oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That reminds me of so like I was getting these one paranormal issue here for a while that was so different and odd compared to what I'm normally used to that I started doing my research and getting a hold of some people that I knew could do some remote viewing on my home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came to find out that it was a very upset. I don't know if she was a legitimate witch or just accused of it and falsely accused of it, but she was angry with the family lineage because back in the day in England,
Mm-hmm.
one of my relatives who was clergy at the time was responsible for accusing this woman of being a witch, and they executed her. So that's when I learned the whole thing about I couldn't go back and make
Mm-hmm.
good on the deed. So I know some people in my field are gonna ring me up and get on me about this, but I did reach out to. I was doing my thing, but I did reach out to some witches and said, "Can you get a witch off my back?" And a couple of them that I reached out to are beautiful, beautiful souls of love and light,
Mm-hmm.
witches, and there's good ones, and there's good and bad and everything. There's good priests, there's bad priests, but these are a couple of witches that I really love and admire, and I know that they're all about love and light and what they do, and they worked on it for me, and lo and behold, issues stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm all about the turning the other cheek and pray for your enemies. And so I did a lot of praying for this soul to not be upset with the family anymore. And hopefully that helped and that worked out too. But yeah, that's very, I hope everything's going to work out for Henry. Now, Bobby D. It's so funny. I somewhere around here I have this chart. Okay. It was funny I got this question from Bobby D because somebody sent me this chart comparing aliens and angels.
Mm-hmm.
It's like angels not from here, aliens not from here. Angels more intelligent than human, aliens more intelligent than humans. Angels can fly, aliens can fly. They're comparing how similar they are. Then I get Bobby sends me this question. So let's talk about this. Bobby says, could aliens, angels, and demons all be the same? All just different, all just some form of interdimensional traveling entities. And I get a lot of people reach out to me who get these visitations in the middle of the night. Some are violent, some are very sexual, almost like borderline like incubus, succubus type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Some very angelic visitations, and they get taken to these other worlds in this dream state. Um, I'm on the fence with it. I do believe in angels and demons and extraterrestrial entities. And I believe if I were to find out one day when I go to heaven that they were all the same all along, I would say, well, cool. Uh, no biggie.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe in angels and I believe that demons are fallen angels. And I do believe that many people are mistaking some that are, and it's usually people that don't believe in angels. They just naturally go to it's an alien, these visitations. Um, So, what do you think about all of that? About these troubled souls that are wondering if this is all the same?
Right. This is one of those things where I'm not so much on the fence, but I have several different theories that I work with. And it goes along the line of we need to continue educating people as to the difference between everything. Because thinking something's automatically an alien is no different than automatically jumping to saying it's a demon. Because, something fell over in your house. Oh, I have a demon. If someone came to visit me at night, oh, that must be an alien. We need to learn more about each of the individual entities. But then there's also some theories out there that people are looking into. Maybe all of the paranormal activity we're having is caused by aliens. Like we're seeing loved ones because the aliens can read our thoughts and they're portraying and coming to us in a way we're comfortable. Then there's also thoughts that when we see, the shadow people, that's because we're on different wavelengths and the shadow people are popping in and out of doors into our world to pop to another world. And that's why we see them quickly. And then there's the other theory that I have where we're on different, the multiple dimensions and we're on wavelengths that constantly go up and down. And when we see paranormal activity, it's because the wavelengths from our world is matched up to their world. And that could also fall into the extraterrestrials. We're able to see them in the sky. And it could just be, Joe Alien going to work, flying across the sky. But our worlds cross and we're able to see him for those few minutes.
I totally buy that. I'm on the fence with the whole portal vortex thing, but the interdimensional traveling and things that get imprinted on the tapestry of life and time itself, I think is also something that maybe a scientist will be actually being, not just someone crazy like me. So, will figure out what that's all about. But like I was talking to a woman who's an indigenous woman, and she said she was driving down this dirt road on the reservation and saw a pterodactyl flying out there alongside of her out in the desert, and then it just disappeared. So you're right, imagination, or is it stuff that's being, planted in our thought pattern? Are we really experiencing these in and out thing with the with that? I find all of that so fascinating.
Yeah, I wish we had Einstein or Tesla. If we had Einstein or Tesla living today, we'd probably be closer to answers.
It's funny you bring up Tesla. I was reading something about he's got a birthday celebration coming up somewhere in the Midwest where the largest Tesla coil is going to be turned on, and there's a big party going on, and that would be something cool to go to. You don't see, you always hear about these paranormal events, but a Tesla birthday bash, that one might be interesting.
That would be fun.
Um, What do we got left here? We got about. I'm going to kick you out of here in about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
Um, what do you want everybody to know? You're working on a new book. You've got other books out. I want you to take your time, tell everybody about your books, where they can get them, how they can follow you, and what you got on the horizon that people can be excited about.
Okay. Well, first of all, my first book, which is Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns, is currently up for order on Amazon. It gets released August 22nd. I was hoping it would be here today. I'm supposed to have my author copies, but it didn't arrive in time. So maybe next time you have me on the show, I'll have the author copies in hand. But that book was actually inspired. My paranormal team, which is my husband and my son and myself, were invited to film a documentary, Real Haunts Ghost Towns, with motion picture video, where we traveled to a whole bunch of different ghost towns in southern Nevada, and it's available to watch free on Tubi and also on Roku. And that it was all the research we had done. I just took that, put it in a book form. History Press loved it, and here we are. It's getting published next month. Oh, cool. And from there, Real Haunts 3 will be out this fall. Also, between August, September, October. They're not sure of a release date yet. And that's all the unseen footage from our investigations in Nevada, as well as some footage from a previous team here in Florida. And then they traveled to a couple other locations to fill in some gaps. So that one will be out later this year. And since moving to Florida, I have signed 2 more contracts with History Press. It's Legends, Lore, and Ghosts of the Vegas Valley, which I have an extension on. So, Sean, you have time. I have time to get you the book for the forward. Okay. And then Haunted Florida.
Sure, you want me to do the forward? You want to sell the book?
Yes, I do. Okay. Immediately when they said they wanted me to write that book, you're the first person I thought of. So,
what's so funny is I don't know why I say funny. There's nothing like a haunted ghost town. Mm-hmm. Unlike any other place, if you can find a place where there's still several structures, mm-hmm. and you can kind of look around and just immediately envision how life was there and what people did, and mm-hmm. and there's nothing like just walking around and seeing what you see, feel what you feel, just being a part of a legitimately haunted ghost town, out, especially if you stumble upon them. Sharon and I used to just pull out a map on the weekend back in the day, and just of Nevada, mm-hmm. southern Nevada, and wherever our finger went, we didn't know what we would find. We would just drive out there, and we would make sure that we knew we could get gas and stuff, mm-hmm. and maybe I would throw a couple of extra gas cans in the trunk, but we would just drive to where we knew we had to stop and then head back. Mm-hmm. But we would find, not on the map, places that people didn't talk about, these old haunted little towns or villages or structures out in the middle of nowhere, and we'd get out and walk around, and I should write a book on that.
Yeah, because we encountered several of those too, but they didn't have town names, so I didn't know how to classify them in the book.
Isn't that crazy? And you talk to people about it, and people go, "You found what out there?" And sometimes I wonder, did I really? Because I know my wife has told me a story about when she was in college. It was spring break or something, and she decided to drive home. And she took a route home that she never took before. And she ended up running low on gas, and she pulled off into this little village to get gas and maybe even get a bite to eat. And she said immediately she thought the town was weird because it looked like she had just stepped back in time. And she parked the car, was looking around for a mechanic, looking around for a place to eat. But the unusual thing was everybody walking around were waving to her and so happy to see her and knowing her name. Hi, Sharon. But then she got really creeped out and decided to get back in her car, get back on the main road or main-ish road, and head on, and then stopped at the next bigger city that she felt looked like she knew what was going on. She was more comfortable there. She asked people there about that village that she drove through, and the people she talked to said, "There's between where you left to go and head this way from your college to here, there are no other villages or cities or towns. So we don't know. You must have fallen asleep at the wheel and had a dream, but this town doesn't exist." So that still blows our mind. I don't know what she really went through there, mm-hmm. but sometimes I've talked to people about some of the ghost towns her and I have stumbled upon out in the middle of nowhere out here, and people don't know anything about them. Like they tell you there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if I've experienced that too, or but hearing you tell me the same story, they don't have names,
Nope.
nobody knows about them. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, even here in Florida, there's several places that you drive through, and it's like, oh wow, this is a really cool, abandoned place. Just driving through it, and then you try to find it on the map, and it's like nowhere to be found.
Oh my gosh! Before I have to kick you out of here. Okay, everybody, her website, which is a wonderful website, you got to go check it out. www.explorationparanormal, all one word.com. You've got a wonderful Facebook page, Paranormal Exploration Paranormal. Then you've also got Exploring the Paranormal Vodcast, which is very
Yep.
cool. And I've been on your other one, Ghost Education
Mm-hmm.
101. Do you still have both the shows, and when are those on?
We do. They're currently off right now in preparation for my knee surgery. They will be back the first week of September, and it airs every other Wednesday, both shows on the same night. One starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the other one starts at 9 p.m. Eastern.
So cool. So cool. Well, Heather, if I was there, I'd give you a big hug and a kiss. I love you. I respect you. Keep doing your thing. I will pray for you for your surgery and for your health and for your new adventure out there on Florida. Maybe I'll come out and visit you one of these days.
I'll take you out to the Bermuda Triangle.
I'm there. I'm so there. Have a great remainder of your Friday evening. Have a wonderful, safe, relaxing, long holiday weekend. Happy 4th of July. And I will be talking to you soon. I'm going to try to have you back, I think, around Halloween time if you're free.
Thank you so much. You have a great weekend.
All right, honey. Good night. I'll see you
Good
later.
Night. Bye.
Heather Leigh Landon. I told you were going to love her. She's cool. She's very cool. Okay, what do I want to do here? I don't have a show Monday, 4th of July, so you all have a very happy 4th of July, okay? But I will be back next Friday. Oh my gosh, this show is going to rock. A lineage initiated witch, paranormal authority, TV, radio, film personality. Been around doing her thing forever. Everybody that knows her loves her also. Solaris Blue Raven will be here next Friday, July 8th. Okay. Who do I want to thank? My co-producers, Zach Clayton, Adrian Hart, and I want to thank Things Network. I want to thank Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. I want to thank Skeleton Key Network. I want to thank Pact, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel, all for simulcasting my show. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all being here, spending an hour out of your busy Friday afternoons to hang out with me, because I don't have a show without you guys. So what else do I want to say to you guys? Keep the prayer requests coming and help me fill up my prayer urn. Keep the questions coming. Help me fill up my paranormal ministry mailbag. And have a happy 4th of July and be proud of your country. You know, many Americans nowadays, for whatever crazy reason, are not proud of their country. Take it from me, guys. We have a country because of many people before us made the ultimate sacrifice for us to have a country. And take it from me, someone who's traveled the world. There is no place on earth like the United States of America. You think you have it, can get it better somewhere else? Go and give it a shot and get back to me on that. Having said that, I love you all. I'm going to, in my poor attempt at putting a smile on everybody's face, I'm going to leave you all with a bad joke sent in by one of you, my paranormal ministry family. And I pull it out of this hat, haunted hat, once worn by a carnival barker that I did a paranormal investigation for at his carnival. His wife sent me his hat after he passed away. The energy on this stuff's incredible. So let's pull a joke out of here for you. Okay, you guys ready? If you're American when you go into the bathroom and you're American when you come out, what are you in the bathroom? European. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Happy 4th of July. Peace.